Welcome back to Really Ringwood. The last time we spoke, like many of the times we've spoken this year, we've been speaking about the elections for Borough Council here in Ringwood. But last year when this show started, we spent a lot of time talking about the Board of Education, and that hasn't really been our focus this year so far.
Yeah, but like many of you, like us here on the show, we've seen the anonymous social media post about candidate for Board of Ed, Michael Sakala. Now, if you're not familiar with the post, the details of a police report that was created following a seemingly heated exchange between him and a local Ringwood neighbor were made public in an anonymous Facebook post. But in the name of discretion and because a police report is involved where there are multiple parties named, we're not going to go into the salacious details of the police report on the show.
But we will call into attention the possible error in judgment shown by the candidate during this incident a few years ago. Anyone who's casting a vote for someone running for elected office would find this event to be relevant in their decision to vote for the individual. This is nothing new to the Ringwood Board of Education election cycles. You might recall that last year, we took note of the poor judgment shown by then-candidate Paul Mazzano when he presented himself for public comment at a Board of Ed meeting on school grounds wearing a t-shirt promoting and glorifying an automatic assault rifle.
Now let's first look at how Michael Sakala addressed the concerns of all of you, the parents, community, and voters on this matter this year. He chose to withdraw from the campaign for his seat on the Board of Education, effectively not pursuing votes from the community. However, because deadlines had passed, it is not possible for him to be removed from the ballot, so when you go to vote on November 7th, you will still see his name listed among the future focused education slate.
Right. Now, many of you listening, are listening to us, and you might also be thinking yourself, well, of course he should withdraw. Or, well, he really doesn't have to do that. That's something that happened in the past. But you can see here, remaining in the race causes these kinds of distractions, and it takes all of our attention away from the central reason why someone wants to serve on the Board of Ed, and that is simply the betterment of our schools and the betterment of Ringwood.
Now contrast this to last year, where candidate Paul Mazzano offered no explanation, no apology, nothing to address the questions the community presented to him concerning his judgment. You also heard nothing but radio silence from his fellow campaign running mates, Bob Monroe and current Board of Ed member Melissa Carney. A radio silence that showed these candidates turning a blind eye and ear to the concerns of the community, parents, and voters. Indirectly, a support for his actions, or a lack of judgment on their part to understand the gravity of the act.
And while these two instances of poor judgment seem to be similar in nature, how the candidates address the concerns of the community are very different.
And there are two candidates in the future-focused education campaign who are ready to meet the challenge of making Ringwood schools better than ever.
These candidates are Kelly Duffy and Maria Tortorello Roth. Recognizing that Ringwood deserves elected leaders that are ready for the challenge to support our teachers, administrators, and children, Mr. Sakala distanced himself from the distraction he caused. The issues of learning, test scores, activities, bullying, these are what should be discussed, and not the sort of distractions that can come from having to defend the actions of someone who is actively campaigning on the same ticket.
Now, in contrast, we've already seen the true motivations of the academics before politics candidates, which are, of course, board member Donna Allen, candidate Tim Lonnie, and candidate Tracy Ahern. And it's really just a repeat of 2022.
The New Jersey Project and its Substack mailing list, Chaos and Control, are a far-right group that advocates for, quote, parents' rights, and are particularly on the forefront of the anti-trans movement. New Jersey has some of the most robust protections for trans youth in the country, and the New Jersey Project has made fighting those protections one of the cornerstones of its existence. The New Jersey Project only endorses candidates to take on extremist views, and so, even if you don't know much about the Academics Before Politics group, their endorsement shows that their name is not truthful, that they are more concerned with what they define as parents' rights. But we know that means a far-right agenda masked as something that all parents want, which they do not.
This group and the candidates that they support and promote care for nothing more than to push their non-local, non-Ringwood agenda. They want to take control of our schools from the outside instead of improving them from within the community. It was wrong in 2022, and it's still wrong in 2023. We will provide you with a link to our episodes highlighting the 2022 actions and motivations in the show notes if you'd like to review.
Again, so while candidates tend to create a campaign, based upon the number of seats that are available, which in this case, this year, there are 3 open seats, it is important to focus on the individual candidates and their qualifications, their motivations, and their potential contributions to the offices that they're running for.
Is the candidate going to engage with Ringwood parents and residents or take the direction from outside influences? Does the candidate show proper respect for the position they are looking to be elected to? Or do they simply repeat words and phrases that are in a national spotlight to stoke fear and a reaction?
These are the kind of questions that you should be asking yourselves and each other as you decide who you think would be best for the Ringwood Board of Education.
The Board of Ed is supposed to be nonpartisan, meaning candidates are not meant to be aligned with one party or another. Yet, in a recent campaign text message received by residents in Ringwood, we see the direct tie-in. The message reads, and I quote, "Hi, we are reminding all residents that in-person early voting begins Saturday, 10/28, and Election Day is Tuesday, 11/7. Please vote entire Row B Republican team, Jamie Mateo Landis, Michelle Kerr, Zoltan Karali, Yvonne Eccles, and Paul Rabacki from Ringwood Borough Council. And also Academics Before Politics team, Donna Allen, Tim Lanny, and Tracy Ahern for Ringwood Board of Education."
Now, we know the town Republicans speak and work in half-truths. We know that they only help you if you're a Republican. In fact, if you remember the mayor's letter we talked about earlier this month, where he begged to keep his job and only was working to get fellow Republicans what they needed to vote by mail. We've also seen and discussed their messages of bullying, and these are just a hallmark of Republicans in Ringwood. So this is the affiliation that these academics before politics candidates would choose to be aligned with. It's kind of more like politics before everything else, including what's best for Ringwood schools and the children.
Ringwood, we have a chance to change this.
Right. I mean, we're talking to all of you without signs on your lawn and those that read social media posts and think, oh my God, what can I do about this? We're talking to anyone who is in that echo chamber of moms and dads and voices on Facebook where a mini Vinny and some Last Noel control everything that you see, read, and hear about. I mean, think about it. On Election Day, when you vote, no one knows who you choose. It's the best anonymous Facebook post that you can create because your vote makes a difference. And with enough of those anonymous votes, we could actually see the future of Ringwood schools become the best that they could possibly be, and not controlled by some outside Ringwood political ideology, some chaos and control, but no, have it be run by people connected to the community, wanting to see our children thrive, and not live in a school with a board run by a bunch of bullies.